Cole, of course, was the bigger topic this week until Tiger up. So it's been a J. Cole week. Everybody's been talking. He's been doing the entire podcast round. Let me play the clip.
Get the elephant out the room. So when you first seen the lawsuit, what was your emotion when you see it?
I was like hurt, almost disappointed, like, cause I got so much respect for you, you know what I mean? And I look at you like I know you are as a stand-up person. When the lawsuit come out, I'm like, come on, Cam. Right. And only because it was like, in my mind, I'm like, bro, you really could have hit me. Like, although it was taking a long time, I don't give a if you would have called me and been like, yo, what the like you could have scraped on me, we could have argued, boom, boom. I would have preferred that than the other way, because I was just like, damn, Cam, like it never got to that point where you couldn't like holler at me or whatever.
Right.
So my first thing was disappointment. And my first thought was like, then. Like no, I was still gonna come to his show.
Right.
Like, my first gut reaction, like, damn, and it's like misinformation, the lawsuit itself, and you know, the internet running with it. People hit me like, yo, what's going on with the Cam shit? Boom, boom. So like my ego reaction is like, all right. Quietly, I'm like, man, this. Boom.
Right.
But quickly, I'm like, but nah, like, I get it though. Let me put myself in his shoes. Like, yo, feel like he was getting the runaround. Right. You know what I mean? He don't know you for real. And Cam mind is probably like, I seen this movie before. Right. You don't want to do the favor. You trying to drag me out until I don't want to do it no more. Right. I bet. And I got one in the chamber. Right. I never signed that paperwork for that for that verse. So here you go. Boom. Just to like hit me in the rib. You know what I mean? And it's like, I still said in my mind, I was like, yo, I'ma still go see Cam.
And which, of course, it was never going to go nowhere. But for me, it was more like, I need to get this attention.
So that was a clip from a very long interview, an hour and about 30 minutes with Talk with Flea. Camron and J. Cole got together to hash out their differences and basically explain why Camron ended up suing J. Cole. And
it was a publicity stunt.
It was not a publicity stunt.
No. It was to get in.
It was intentional. It was to get your attention and intentional.
It's to get in the headlines.
Now, of course, J. Cole said, why didn't you just call me and fuss me out?
Basically, he rather Cam calling it, hey, what's up, bro? Yeah. What the fuck you doing? How many times I gotta call your punk ass about this shit? He rather Cam do that versus the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Camron actually filed a lawsuit against J. Cole. And that made headlines just like 3, 4, 5 months ago. Years ago, J. Cole had called him up when he was in New York, was in the studio, was like, yo, Cam, I got this project I'm working on. I want you to do a feature. He said Camron might have showed up to the studio within 30 minutes somehow. Hour, everything done. And Cole, before he was leaving, was like, yo, bro, let me get your lawyer's information and your manager so I can make sure you get paid for it. And Cam was like, yo, you good. Don't even trip. Don't worry about it. Then fast forward, Camron's trying to start this podcast later on in like 2024, just like a year or two ago. And in the midst of that, he hits up J. Cole. His whole plan was to have the first episode be with J. Cole. Feel me? It would have been huge. Whole time like, yo, I'm waiting till I'm on a project. I got you for sure. I'm waiting till I'm dropping a project. Months go by. Cam's like, all right, cool. Whole Drake and Kendrick thing happens. So now Cole's like, hold on. I don't want to do nothing in the media right now. Cam says he looks at his phone and he's realizing these text threads go back to 2022 and they're all just him saying, yo, I can't do it yet. So he's like, you know what? I got to get his attention somehow.
Anybody would want that over a lawsuit, though.
Why had to take that? Because if you hear
No, I'm not saying it had to, but I'm just saying what.
That's why
over a lawsuit, I'd rather you do that.
Cam is pulling kind of a publicity stunt. You know you ain't going to do nothing.
No. It's not a publicity.
That wasn't a.
It wasn't a publicity stunt though.
He really sued him.
It was not.
That was dead ass real, yo.
Because the thing about it is, what you got to understand is, Cam he's from the streets, and as a street,
you want to do street shit first.
You want to do street shit first. I know this personally, but you can't. You got to take it to the court system, because if you take it to the street first, it's going to cost you money. So if I'm going to pay money, let me sue you.
Yo, what the like you could have scraped on me, we could have argued.
No. What am I doing any of that for? No. What, I'm a pop a blood vessel in my stress because you are not giving me the proper answers to what the we doing? No, I've been calling you for 4 years. You want me to call you and black out on another black man that I really don't actually want to black out on? I just want this to work?
I respect what Cam said, because Cam's response was very mature. Cam even said, I don't know you to be cussing you out. And J. Cole just basically wanted Camron to waste more time to call him up and cuss him out.
That's what he rather do.
Now, I can tell you from personal experience, I've had rappers do this when I schedule engineering sessions with them where they miss the session and they'll be like, why didn't you call me and remind me? I'm like, I sent you a text. He's like, you need to send multiple. Don't be afraid to fuss at me. I'm like, bro, I don't know you well enough to be cussing
parent,
you
man.
out.
Yeah, I got to hold you.
Calling, yeah, you know, I'm
what
like,
the you doing, man? Get your
adults.
ass up here.
We adults. We schedule the time. We have apps on our phone to keep track of appointments.
This is what you want to do.
Yeah.
This is what you want to do. This is something that you should have put in your
schedule, your reminder.
I shouldn't have to remind you because this is something that you want to do.
And then as Cole is explaining, he know he was out of pocket.
Yeah.
He, you know what I'm saying? You know without knowing this that he don't get down like that. If Cam said, when you asked me to do the verse, I hopped in that bitch and boom, knocked that shit out. You feel what I'm saying? So now I'm asking you return the favor. And you like, yo, even though you was going through your thing, because he was saying he had writer's block, trying to get the fall off, trying to get the album complete, and every time it seemed like when he told him a date, and when that date came around, but he was like, on that day, he was like, yo, you called me in that morning, like, yo, what's up? And we like, so he knew what it was, his ego. Still, which is weird, you still rather for me to cuss your ass out.
The lawsuit did what it was supposed to do. It got Cole's attention and it got what Cam needed from Cole. So the lawsuit was successful despite it not going forward to court. It got the attention of Cole, which is all Cam wanted.